This is Felt Recoil.
Number 81. Wow. We're almost as cool as Rachel Maddow, minus the faux crying. The frying.
What's that dude crying about?
Have you not seen the clip?
No.
For realsies?
No, I've been busy. Sorry.
Facebook.com/FeltRecoil show and watch Rachel Maddow cry. It is so spectacularly 5-year-oldish. See, I think there's that old saying of if you're not a liberal at 20, you have no heart. And if you're not a conservative by 40, you have no brain.
Right.
I think that's because you have kids in that time frame. Because if I didn't have children, I would have watched the Rachel Maddow clip and gone, wow, that dude is really, he's sincerely hurt by the crisis at the border. But actually, I have children, and so I know those are what we call crocodile tears, and it's not real. And my 3-year-old does it every night when he has to turn Minecraft off and go to bed. Dad, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to throw. I wanted to build a house. Shut up. Get in bed. That kind of thing every night. Anyway, that's what she does. It's not as good to hear the audio, or I would play it for you. It's just a matter. You have to see it and hear it at the same time. The audio does not.
Well,
do
you've
it
got
justice.
me intrigued now
because she's like wagging her finger the whole time. All right, welcome to the Felt Recoil Podcast. Thanks for being here. Thank you for telling your friends that we exist. Always appreciated. Glad to have you on board. Never forget, you can find us online at feltrecoilshow.com. My name is Kris. Across from me
is Patrick.
And we got a lot to dive into this week. I know you've probably been just inundated and sick and tired of the border crisis conversation.
I don't know anyone that's not sick of it, actually. That's the thing.
Here's the thing.
I know people that aren't really news people. They just aren't into it. They don't watch local news. They don't watch national news. They don't read it online.
Right.
They get a little bit on social media, but they typically disregard it. This has become such a thing that they can't escape it.
It's all anyone will talk about. It is such an orchestrated event by the media, meaning the coverage of the quote-unquote crisis. Not to say it's not a crisis. It's just not new. It's not a new sudden crisis.
This has been around for years and years and years. And let's be honest. The reason it's an orchestrated event by the media is because they have exhausted all available resources in trying to find a chink in Donald Trump's armor. Yeah. And they have not been able to find one. And they think suddenly they've found one. Yeah. But the reality is that what the clips that they're showing are essentially false.
Most of them have been false, yeah.
So they're giving you a quick little glimpse into what the process is in the very, very, very beginning, but they're not explaining what happens later on. Yeah. That these people they end up in facilities that are air conditioned. They have cable TV and PlayStations. There's teachers. There's yoga. There's pools and swimming lessons. No. There's all kinds of things going on that, for some reason, escapes the NBC nightly news.
Right. Well, here's the thing, and I'll explain more detail here for you in just a second. But never forget that this went to the Supreme Court under Bill Clinton. Okay? And that's the genesis of all of this, is that Janet Reno went before the Supreme Court after she was sued by illegal immigrant children who were saying, you can't separate us and you can't put us in these conditions. It's not due process, blah, blah, blah. And agreements and rulings and adjudications from the court all resulted in what we have today. So that is the main takeaway. And again, I'm not blaming Bill Clinton for it. I'm not blaming George W. Bush for it. I'm not blaming Barack Obama, and I'm certainly not blaming Donald Trump. It's something we have been facing for a very long time. But real quick, before we get too deep into it, let me tell you that this week's charity of choice is focused on what's happening at the border. It is Mercury One. That is a charity founded by Glenn Beck. They actually went to the border in Texas on Saturday to distribute tractor trailers full of food, water, clothing, and toys to the illegal immigrant children pouring into the United States. And when I said Saturday, it was Saturday, July 19th. And you said, hey, wait a second. July 19th, that wasn't a Saturday. That was like Tuesday. And then I say, I'm sorry. That was Saturday, July 19th, 2014. That's when this happened. Okay, 4 years ago, they went down there. Beck has consistently maintained that everyone who is in the U.S. illegally must be sent back to their home countries. But he also says we have to take care of the children in need until they head home. You can find out more about Mercury One by visiting theblaze.com. You can also find Mercury One online. I believe it's mercury1.org. Mercury1.org. You can find out more about what they do. Okay? So that's our charity of choice this week because they were there addressing the problem 4 years ago. And for the record, getting heat from both sides. And so we're going to tell you that we agree with with standing against the separation of families, all due to the American government's failure on immigration policy. I'll tell you why that is, and then let's see. Oh, we have our VOTA of the week, a city councilwoman who wants to buy heroin for addicts. Excellent. And then we have our we need a name for this. Should be a segment. We got a story about a British spec ops soldier killing 6 Taliban in a tunnel fight. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I did.
With a claw hammer. It's unbelievable. So we'll share all that with you very shortly. First, had a tough day, really tough day. And if you'll give me a minute, I need to kind of open my heart and pour some stuff out. Just lay some grief on the table.
Can't wait.
I'm looking for a friendly ear. I got married May 7th, 2011. So it's been more than 7 years. The biggest mistake she ever made. And that was the last time I bought a suit. All right. I have a friend who's sitting across the table from me who is getting married soon. And I was going to go to his wedding. I'm still planning on going to his wedding. And I need a suit. So I thought, hey, I know what I'll do. I'll take my suit to the guy that does the suit measuring and cutting and all that, and I'll have him readjust it for me. And
I think I see where this is headed.
I found out today that I am incredibly fat. Men's Warehouse gave me the most awkward experience I've had in a very long time. Like had I been 15 years old, I would have been crushed by what happened to me at Men's Warehouse today. But luckily, as I mentioned at the outset, I'm a dad now. And so when you're a parent and you have 3 kids and you're married and that's your life, and the beautiful part of it all outside of raising children is that there's this miracle where you don't care what everyone thinks anymore. You literally that's why grandpas wear socks with sandals, is because there's just I don't know if it's science or if it's just divine intervention, but something happens where you're granted this ability to give 0 foxtrots. And so that's what you do. You just walk around and you go, I don't care. I do not care. And so I go into Men's Warehouse like, hey, I bought this suit from you guys many years ago, but it's still a nice suit. It's in good shape. I am not. And I was wondering if we just let it out a little bit. Now, I'm able to put the suit on. Let me be real clear. I get into the suit, but it's tight. It's just tight. It's tight in all the wrong places. And he goes, it's not like he wasn't kind about it. Like, I sell guns to people, right? And sometimes people get denied. Like, there is delayed, which is one thing where they're eventually going to get the gun 99% of the time, and then there's denied. And I mean, there's denied like
always fun.
Right away, where you're clicking onto the FBI website, you run it, and it goes, denied, big red box. Okay, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no ambiguity. When you are denied, you are denied. When that happens, I have this thing where I go, shooter, person, man, woman, whatever, sir, madam, hey, real quick, and as I'm talking, I will walk away from everyone, right? And I'll get that person somewhat alone. I'll go, hey, so for some reason, the FBI is not going to allow us to do the transfer today. And they go, oh, what happened? And I say, they don't tell us. They just told us we can't transfer the gun to you today.
Right.
That's a much softer way of saying you've been denied your Second Amendment right. I think that's the kind way to do things. The Men's Warehouse employees.
Did he just...
No.
He just looks at you and goes, fatty.
He might as well have poked me in the belly, which I'm glad he didn't. He could have poked me in the belly and just gone, do a little giggle, doughboy. And I probably would have felt better about what happened. So I get the jacket on, and he goes, all right, go ahead and button that button. And I kind of, I'm like, I'm not going to button it, man. It's pretty tight. And he goes, yeah. Nah, ain't going to happen, man. You're too big. And I was like, all right. So to me, that's the end of the discussion, right? Like I go, okay, all right. And he goes, I mean, if you could lose 20 pounds, I mean, you're probably 2 inches away. Like if you could lose 2 inches off your waist, you'd be fine. Okay, man, I appreciate that. I mean, you know what? I'm no expert. Let me hold on. Don't go anywhere. Now listen to me. We are
going for a second opinion.
We are in the middle of the store. He has pulled me out of the dressing room and put me in front of the wall of mirrors, all right?
Of course.
So everyone shopping is standing around watching Kris Vermillion be told,
fat guy in a little coat.
Yes. You have outgrown your attire, my friend. So I was just ready to be done.
Oh, hey. Richard.
Yeah, exactly.
Hold me.
What were you looking at, Richard? And so he goes and grabs this woman, and the woman comes out and makes a show of, well, go ahead. Turn around. Oh, no. Never going to happen. I go, okay. And then.
Heard you the first time.
Right. So then I take like the 10 steps towards the dressing room type thing, like, okay. And the guy says, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, again, if you could lose 20 pounds, you drop 20 pounds, that suit's going to fit. It's going to fit. And that's a good thing. I mean, you could lose the weight. One day you're going to go to your doctor. He's going to tell you got to lose 20 pounds on and on and on. And it wasn't, Patrick, I'm not exaggerating. That I opened the changing room door and stood in the changing room with the door half closed as he held the changing room door open and continued to tell me, you just got to drop some weight. Man. I recently lost 32 pounds. You can do it. I lost 32 pounds, man. I don't even know. I wasn't even trying. To which I wanted to say, by the way, well, I had cancer once, and actually one of the things they say is, have you lost any weight without trying? You might want to see a doctor. Because it sounds to me like you have the bigger problem here. Freak you out a little bit? I hope it did.
Sounds like we need to start a hashtag bedside manner campaign with Men's Warehouse on Twitter or something.
Maybe. I could put this on our Twitter.
He could have lessened the blow a little bit and said, looks like you don't have enough fabric.
Yes, exactly.
Or something, anything, right?
And here's the thing. So I've lately been researching how to spot a quality suit. If I'm going to go in, I'm going to shop for a suit. What are the telltale signs that I can look for on a suit? There are like design aspects that I can't even remember the terms, but it's basically how much cloth makes up a section. Are they doing it in 3 full sections or in 5 sections? Something like that. I don't know. I'm probably wrong. But one of the things they tell you to look for, excuse me real fast. One of the things they tell you to look for is extra cloth at the seams. So you should pull the sleeve, you should roll your sleeves up and look for excessive cloth to let you know if the seamstress will be able to adjust accordingly should the need arise.
Right.
So he could have said to me, you've already had it altered once. And when they make a fine suit like this, sir, that extra cloth goes away if they have to pull it in. Is that maybe what happened? And I would say to him, when I got married 7 years ago, that's exactly what happened. Because we were running as a habit. I was a habitual runner. So not way
Look where that got
ago.
you.
Yeah,
cancer.
Right. That's what it does to you.
I'd quit doing that.
I have to, which is kind of my second personal issue to get out of the way tonight. But the point is, he literally stood in the door, propped the door open with his foot. I'm trying to close the dressing room door, and he's basically not allowing me to get him out of my face.
I would have just dropped trowel. I'd have made it super awkward.
Changing, man. Just start changing. It was not embarrassing. I mean, it was. If I'm I'm not trying to say I'm telling you this story because I'm embarrassed, but it was embarrassing. It was super embarrassing, but it was also humorous.
He would have seen my bare white ass, and then the awkwardness would have shifted from me to him instantly, and that would have just been over with.
You guys are cool that I'm commando right now, right?
Yeah.
So that was a really funny.
You're not too late.
I'm a dad now moment of A, my poor wife, B, I'm officially fat, and it was medically diagnosed inside of a Men's Warehouse, which is probably actually more humiliating than I'm willing to admit. So I just went to Chick-fil-A and got some fried chicken and forgot it ever happened.
Moved on with my life.
Even better is that, then you get to go and shop. And sometimes you can go in these high-end men's clothiers. I don't know. You go in some of these high-end stores.
A French one?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
And they do treat you well. They're really nice. There was a little place. I wish I had my wallet so I could tell you. Joseph and Sons, is that it? Not Joseph A. Bank, but man, hold on. I want to just publicly say how nice these guys were. I went over to a little shop near my work.
Let's be honest. All you got to do is not call Kris fat, and then you'll get a plug on our show.
Right. Smith and James.
Oh, that was almost the same.
Not even
Sanford
close.
and Son.
Samsonite. I was way off. Smith and James, I didn't buy anything from them, and I'm not going to, okay? Because they're just not quite my price point for what I'm looking to do.
This is what we call at the Felt Recoil show a half endorsement.
Half endorsement. Here's
super nice guys. Never going to get a dime of mine.
I mean, like, suit-wise, they had really nice jeans. Everything's handcrafted. Seemed to be a lot of American-made, handcrafted stuff. So you are looking at $150 jeans. But this is my point. They knew. Like, I walked in and said, I just want to look around. And I'm telling you, those guys were like, cool, man. So cool about it that they checked in just a couple of times. Everything going all right? Okay. If there's anything specific, you just say so. We'll help you out. And then when I went to leave, the guy said, hey, do you live around here? And I said, yeah, I live in Greenville. I'm just looking around. He said, well, let me give you my card. If you ever have any questions, you're ever looking for anything at all, why don't you give me a call? I was like, thanks. So I will. I'm just not going to buy a suit from him right now is what I was saying. I said that terribly, but the point is that I just thought, what a difference. Like, thank you. So I look slim? No, sir, you don't. All right, well, at least we're all on the same page.
Rip his card up and throw it on the floor as you're walking out the door.
So, and my stomach had digested the Chick-fil-A, so I walked down to Bricks and had a pizza. Like it never even happened. All right. I do want to tell you one other thing. I can't remember where I was going. Oh, yes. Okay. So I had surgery last Thursday. And I feel like, you talk about getting fat, I do feel as if every time I have tried to put something in place to better myself, my body has said, hey, man, understood, but no.
Nope.
No, ain't happening. So my doctor, my personal doctor, told me to stay off my mountain bike for a while. So I was getting those headaches. I was getting these headaches after riding real hard. Most likely just dehydration headaches. He has not been able to convince the insurance company to give me a CAT scan, which he thinks I need. Insurance company doesn't see it that way. So in that, my gallbladder goes bad somewhere along the way. And so they took it out last Thursday. And it's a strange thing because I had my thyroid removed. Has it been 2 years? Somewhere around there. Had my thyroid removed. It was a 3-hour operation. They had to cut around lymph nodes. Left a big old line across my neck. My throat hurt for a couple days. But I think, if I remember correctly, they did that operation on a Friday morning. And I stayed Friday and Saturday night in the hospital and went back to work like the next Wednesday. If I remember correctly.
It was longer than that because you had chemo, right?
Well, but remember, that was 6 weeks later.
Okay, yeah.
But it was radiation. I did not do chemo. I did radiation treatments.
Yep.
6 weeks later.
That's right.
And then it was a 4-day thing. But that was just laying around the house doing nothing. My point is...
Score.
Yeah, right. You would think. There's something about... Man, when people talk about being manically depressive, that's probably the closest you could ever be. For me, in the sense of... I had the opportunity to do anything I wanted within the confines of my house. I wasn't allowed to be around people. But I did not want to do anything. I literally would sit on the couch and just stare. It was very strange. But you remember a little bit because we had dinner, like my first night of freedom.
Yes.
Me, you, and Lindsay went out and had dinner. That's like my first time out of the house in 4 days. And I was just like, I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah, Lindsay was like, wow, he's a talker. Yeah, well,
that guy won't
he hasn't
shut
talked
up.
to anyone in a week, so.
Yeah, man. So anyway, the
I
point.
kid, we had a good time.
The overall point is, I felt like I bounced back from that no problem. The gallbladder surgery, get this, 30 minutes. Okay, I arrived at the hospital at 11:30 and was out and home before 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Hence, kind of why I'm telling you this whole story. So, and there's something really curious here. Do you remember the story about my son having surgery and how
could I forget?
I kind of lost my mind on the hospital staff because they were just so inept at what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
With me, they come in, they asked us to get there at 11:30. We go in at 11:30, and the lady says to me somewhere around noon, if you want, I'll give you the I don't care medicine. I said, what does that do? She goes, it's just going to make you not care about anything. Make you loopy. You will be loopy. I said, what time am I going back? She goes, no way to know. We don't know. I said, okay, let me ask you this. How much notice do we get before I go back? She goes, well, they're going to tell us, and then it's basically all hands on deck and you go. I said, so, because here's what I'm thinking. What I'm saying is, if it's going to be 2 hours, I don't want my wife sitting here and I'm an idiot for 2 hours. I want to have somebody to talk to. So is there any way, like 30 minutes before we go back, I can take it? Like, will we have that kind of notice? And she was like, nah, no telling. We'll see. We'll see how it works out.
Did you tell him Carmen didn't bring a drool bucket?
Right. Yeah. My shirt every day. No, but I will tell you this quick side note for this completely off the rails story. The lady asked me if I ever had heart palpitations. And I said, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. And she goes, okay. I said, I mean, my wife does every time I walk in a room. How could you not? Look at me. And the lady, so Carmen's in the room. Like, my wife is sitting right there. And the lady took it as if I was saying, I get them every time my wife walks in the room. And she turns and goes, oh, you are so sweet. And then turns to her and goes, isn't he earning some brownie points today? And so we got a good laugh out of that. But she's a real sweetheart. And Carmen was nice.
You don't listen so good, do you?
Yeah, you don't really know what you're doing. So he said yes, and she's injecting me with stuff. My point is, they gave me a loopy medicine so that by the time I got to the operating room, I didn't really care what was going on. And I've had 2 surgeries before this one. This is the longest I ever remember being lucid in an operating room. Like, I was looking around at equipment and going, so, like, when you guys going to knock me out? Because it started to feel like it was taking a while. With my son, they didn't do any of that. Mm-hmm. Why is there not, you're telling me we don't have pills that'll make a 4 or 5-year-old just kind of forget their cares for a little while so then they can walk away with a bunch of strangers and go have an operation done? Just seems like they're really overlooking something there. I digress. The interesting thing here was it was a very quick procedure. It has hurt, like, I mean, it hurts all day, every day. It's just like a slight pain and discomfort. But there was no debriefing for me. There was, but I was still, like, I remember the surgeon waking me up. And it was basically like, hey, how you doing there, Mr. Vermillion? I was, good. Did everything go all right? He's like, yes, everything went great. And then I was out. Like, I was just right back to sleep. And then I remember hearing a nurse giving my wife some instructions and thinking in my head, oh, I need to pay attention. I fell back asleep. And then I kind of,
been there more than once.
Right. And then I kind of opened my eyes a little bit, and I see him, and I go, where are we? And she goes, well, you're out. Because they had told me my wife couldn't come back for recovery. They said, you'll be in recovery for about an hour, and then we'll bring your wife, and we'll put you guys in a place together. And so I was asking where we were, and she said, you're getting ready to go home. The nurse did. I said, what? And she goes, yeah, getting ready to go. And within 20 minutes, I was out the door. Like, I woke up and was out the door in 20 minutes. So there was no, like, explanation about what we just did to my body. And I'm not complaining about it at all. Here's the whole point of me telling you this. My wife and I are on the couch the other night, and this could be TMI, so I apologize for that. But I'm like, wait, back up. We were at my parents' house, and my mom had her gallbladder removed, and she was like, yeah, it's like it's just 3 incisions or whatever. And I said, yeah, I guess they cut through your belly button, I guess. And my mom goes, I don't think so. And Carmen goes, no, they said 3 incisions. They told me it was 3. It's here, here, and here. I said, man, why does my belly button hurt so bad? Like, it just hurts. Like, something in there hurts really bad. It's like, oh, no, they didn't cut there. And later that night, I was trying to get up off the couch like the old man I am. And I was like, I'm telling you. And I got up, pulled my shirt up, man, and you could just see they'd cut right through my belly button. So nobody knows exactly what they did to me, I guess is the whole point here. And it's kind of been a little bit of a life lesson, but also kind of frustrating, just for the matter of everything hurts now, and I don't know why. And I'm back to that stage of kind of like with my thyroid. Hey, are you ever overly tired? Do you feel like you could fall asleep during the day? Well, yeah, I'm a father. I'm in school full-time at the time. I have a full-time job. Yes, I feel those ways. Okay, yeah, you're just running yourself ragged. Well, then you look at symptoms now. All right, make sure you don't have blood clots after surgery. Well, what are the symptoms of blood clots? All the same things you had when your gallbladder was bad. Oh, are you sure? Yes. Aches and pains. It might hurt to take a deep breath. That could be a blood clot. But it also was my gallbladder. It could be recovery. It could just be recovery, but it could also be a blood clot, which could kill you, just FYI. So now I'm all paranoid in my head about having blood clots. That's all.
I had some hernias repaired through my belly button. So that
hurts.
I literally feel your pain on that one.
That hurts.
That was not fun.
That's a new kind of something right there.
Yeah.
But
just breathing hurt.
All right. I'm done griping about me. But what a weird week it's been. That's all. And I got called fat. Okay. Man. You know what I should have done? I'm a huge fan of saying things that are all true, but not connected to each other. Right? You know what I'm saying? So when I had my cancer, I would say, I have cancer. Oh, that's too bad. And there's not a doctor out there that can tell me how long I have to live. Now, both of those things are true, but they're not connected. Okay. No doctor can tell you how long you have to live.
It's very Norm Macdonald of you.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, people are like, yeah, that's really rude. And I go, death is fun. And anyway, I should have told that guy in Men's Warehouse today, well, I'm still bloated from the surgery. And he's like, what? I could pull my shirt up, and I look rough. I look real rough on my stomach right now. Yeah, I had surgery. And he goes, oh, man. I could have gone, had cancer. Oh. And then, yep. Now, both of those things are true. They're not connected, but they're both definitely true.
For some reason, I had it in my head, well, still recovering from the surgery. And then he asks you, like, what happened? And you show him the scars, and you're like, I used to look like Al Roker. And you're like, what'd you get, like,
new
a lap band? No, man, I was black.
Perfect. All right. Public service announcement time. Okay. What a depressing show this is going to be. I kind of feel like we shouldn't talk about this now.
As if it wasn't already?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I'm thinking in totality. Like, it's been 28 minutes of pure depression, and now I'm going to... Kris is talking about his life again. I think I'll end mine. All right. We want to take a very hard stance. Obviously, this is all over the news, and you're tired of hearing about it. But this is a new take on it, and I promise you that. So remember, Supreme Court ruled on child separation during the Clinton era and said there's absolutely nothing unconstitutional or inhumane about what we're doing with these kids. By the way, the kids legally, if you read the opinion, the kids legally have to be put in housing that meets the same standard of what American foster children are put in. So any ward of the state, these children are treated as wards of the state. And so it's not the cages and all that. I mean, the Obama administration was not living up to that standard. It's quite possible the Trump administration isn't either. Who knows? But what we do know, it's absolutely absurd to act as if this is a new crisis or to act as if, honest to God, this wasn't something that the children's parents wrought upon them and themselves, right? So it's funny to me that we're going, it's so inhumane to separate children from family. Then what are you saying about the parents who are sending their children up to the border unaccompanied? What are you saying? If you truly believe it's inhumane to separate children from their families, if that to you is the highest echelon of just moral depravity, then what is it you are trying to say about the children's parents who are sending them to the border alone or with human traffickers? Even worse.
And on that same note, if you recall back in 2012, Barack Obama held a press conference where he told people not to put their children on these trains that they were sending north through Mexico from El Salvador and Guatemala and all these other countries where they're sending them up and basically hoping for the best.
Yeah.
Literally just sending their children. So not even a case where they may make it to the border, may make it into the U.S. and then be separated. They were just giving their children up, putting them on a train, and hoping they worked it out when they got there.
And then unreal.
Which is mind-blowing.
Mm-hmm.
And Obama told them, do not do that. We are going to detain those children, and then we're going to figure out where they came from, and we're going to send them back.
Yep.
No questions asked. That's how we're going to handle it from here on out.
Yep.
Now, he wasn't labeled a bigot or a racist or called Hitler, which seems to be the biggest cry now towards Trump. Not that everybody wasn't already calling him Hitler, but now they're really calling him Hitler.
He's definitely Hitler now.
So, I mean, this isn't the first time that we've experienced something like this, but for some reason we act like it is every time when it's literally been going on since the 90s. I mean, in a fashion where we had to take action on it, right?
Yeah,
since
absolutely.
the 90s. So it's probably been happening long before that.
Well, we also hadn't had a president before Obama who so just blatantly laid it out to the world community that you could come here and not be prosecuted for the fact of coming here alone. We're only going to prosecute criminals. Well, you are a criminal. You came here illegally. By default, you're now a criminal. And a proper retort to us would be, well, maybe you guys need to understand that you're looking at it from an American perspective, and your children have good quality lives. And these are people whose quality of life is so poor that they believe if my child doesn't take the risk of getting to America alone and then make a life for his or herself, their life here will be of such poor quality, it's not even worth living. Okay, fair. Except the flaw in your logic is they have to carry that logic with them to the border. Right? Because, okay, if that's the case, then they can't be angry when they make it to the border and get separated. All right? So you can't be the parent who takes the moral high ground and says, the quality of life is here so bad that we've decided, to use an old high school debate, that the quality of life outweighs the value of life itself. Okay? So there's no inherent value to life unless there's a proper quality of life, and we don't feel like we have that quality of life, so we're willing to sacrifice it for better quality of life. And I would disagree, right? From a personal perspective, I would say no. Just the sanctity of life itself should outweigh the quality. You should love your children in the family unit enough to go, I don't care if we're eating dirt and rocks and starving, we're going to do it together, and we're going to make our way the best way we can. And if a remedy to that is let's illegally sneak into the country next door, and in so doing we get separated, listen to me. I will find you. It will be rough, but I will find you. But that's the law. I'm not going to blame the country next door. I'm going to tell my kids, this is a possibility. This might be the price we pay for the freedom we will gain. I don't believe the asylum seekers for a second. I don't believe them, okay?
Wait, what?
If we are to believe the asylum seekers, then you'd have to show me maybe Venezuelans. Maybe I would believe Venezuelans right now. But as far as I can tell,
they're eating the zoo animals?
Yes. And the Mexicans, I don't understand. You can't come here from Mexico illegally and tell me, well, it's an asylum thing. You're just looking to improve a slight quality of life feature there. Anyway, not to get too deep into it, but the point is, I don't see a way where it's not a recognized risk to take your children into any country illegally for the sake of bettering yourselves that you might get separated in the process. It's going to happen. You should be smart enough. If I'm gonna take my kids to Canada, let's just say that's what I'm gonna do. Okay. Sorry. Let's just say that for some reason I get offered a job in Canada.
Do they already own gloves?
Right. Here's a real life example. All right. I looked at working for the NRA after I graduated college, except they don't pay a lot. But the NRA will hire
labor of love.
Yeah, exactly. They'll hire basically. I can't remember the term they use for it, but you get to sit around. No, that's not true. You get to work to understand state gun laws and represent a region of the United States on behalf of the NRA. And so you have to be really up to date on your state's gun laws, and then you have to go and lobby for the state to stay very friendly to the Second Amendment. And I wanted to do that. And so I started applying for this job and working whatever connections I had. But one of the things that was a huge deterrent for me is that they're located in Fairfax, Virginia. And a lot of the guns I own, believe it or not, are not legal in Virginia. Virginia has, ironically, very strict gun laws. And so you're looking at, actually, you know what? I'm saying that. I think NRA is located in Arlington. It doesn't matter. The point is they were in a part of Virginia where all the city ordinances and everything I began looking at made a lot of my firearms illegal, specifically the ARs. Okay, the ARs have been hit hard at that time up there.
Well, they're evil.
They are evil. But I looked into the laws and decided that's probably not a place I could move my family. Even if the job was great, it's probably not a place we could go. Plus, we love where we live. Do we really want to? It is Fairfax. Okay, good. Yep. Thanks. Just wasn't a place I wanted to take the family because I didn't agree with the state laws. It's going to undo things I've already done. You're telling me that you're going to illegally sneak into an area? Like, that's a guy trying to lawfully move somewhere, and now, well, for the sake of my family and posterity, I'm going to sneak into this new place and not understand the legal system. A, I think that's absurd and stupid, but B, I just don't believe it. I don't believe they're not looking. All right. So Felt Recall takes a very hard stand, though, against the separation of families due to the American government's failure on immigration policy. And I want to share with you some somber stories of families who have been unjustly ripped apart by our inept and corrupt government and its inept and corrupt handling of illegal immigration. So stick with me. This is very important that you hear me out. All right, Courtney Hacking was unjustly separated from her family due to illegal immigration when an illegal alien fell asleep at the wheel, crossed into oncoming traffic, and killed Courtney's husband and 2 young children, 4-year-old Ellie and 22-month-old Grayson. The killer received 2 years in prison for his crime, which, by the way, he was allowed to serve concurrently, which means at the same time as his federal conviction for re-entering the country after previous deportation. Edwin Jackson and his Uber driver were unjustly separated from their families when an illegal immigrant who had been twice deported from the U.S. and gave police a fake name at the time of his arrest struck and killed Jackson and his driver, Jeffrey Monroe, who was 54 years old. State police said the illegal alien was intoxicated, driving without a license, and had a blood alcohol content of 0.239. That's 3 times Indiana's legal limit. David Crine is a former missionary from Indiana and a grandfather. He was unjustly separated from his family when a drunk illegal alien slammed her car into his. The force of the impact ejected him from his car, and he died at a local hospital not long after. 16-year-old Tessa Tranchant and her best friend Allison were unjustly separated from their families when a drunk illegal alien drove his car into theirs at a red light, killing them both. His blood alcohol content was 3 times the legal limit. He was sentenced to 40 years in prison. He'd been arrested twice, but never deported. Kate Steinle was unjustly separated from her family when an illegal immigrant picked up a handgun and shot her dead in a park in San Francisco. Before he shot Kate Steinle, the city of San Francisco had been asked to hold the killer for his 6th deportation, but defied federal immigration enforcement and released him anyway, and he went and killed Kate not long thereafter. Now, you tell me, if we're really concerned, if the Democrats of this country, if the Ted Cruzes of this country are super concerned with the unjust separation of families due to illegal immigration, why in the world are they not doing everything they can to stop the illegals from coming into the country and killing our people? I quite frankly, care a lot less about the separation of families due to the commission of a crime than I do the separation of a family because someone killed someone unnecessarily so. Meaning, these are people committing crimes, killing other people, and ruining those other people's lives, and in many instances, getting slapped on the wrist. 2 years probation for killing someone, 2 years in prison for killing someone, and you were in the country illegally. Not enough. We're not doing enough. We don't care. We never have cared. The government is corrupt. I firmly, truly believe the government players all get together and they say, what's the cause du jour? What can we get out of it? What can your side win out of this? What can our side win out of this? Okay, all right. So let's do this. This will be the circus for the next 3 weeks because then we go on vacation for 12 weeks. So let's make this the circus, and then we'll offer this solution, and then we'll compromise here, and everybody goes home. I think they're all in it together.
Well, and don't forget the component of misdirection.
Sure.
So, I mean,
absolutely.
Everybody's looking over here. We're going to do something over here.
So what are they doing right now, right? Well,
exactly.
They've got us attracted to all of this. Is it Trump's Nobel Peace Prize? Is it the IG report that prompted this just mass attention on the kids at the border? I'm not sure which. My buddy Dwayne said, I think it's the IG report. And I said, okay, that's a good point.
You know what I think it is? Mm-hmm. This is just my personal theory is, and we talked about this the other day about the Korea summit and how everybody's singing the praises of how wonderful it was.
Right.
And while you and I think, both agree that we don't believe that it was all it was trumped up to be. So
nice.
While it wasn't all that.
Oh, wait, and his name's Trump.
Yeah, that too. While it wasn't all that, it was still, on the whole, received very positively, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, okay, Trump gets all this positive press.
Bring him back down.
What do we do to bring him back down to earth, right?
Good point.
So, and if you look at his poll numbers, they were kind of on a slow but steady increase.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is part and parcel to the media's typical way they're going to play their role and bringing it back down.
Yeah.
So that's my take on it.
Fair enough. Well, I think you're exactly right. They always got to push the pendulum the other way. All right, can't let it stay on one side too long. And actually, whether you like to hear it or not, Glenn Beck always says that about watch what the other hand is doing. Don't get caught up in what they're telling you the one hand is doing. Make it a point to go, okay, well, wait a second, what's the other hand doing? All right, we're running low on time, so let's skip ahead of it. Anyway, the point is, it's ridiculous, it's absurd. They've been killing our kids for years. The illegals have been killing our children for years, and we've done nothing to stop it. And suddenly we're supposed to stop and care that they're being separated from their children. And by the way, in a very small amount of cases, in like the lowest percentile possible of cases, parents are being separated from their actual children. What's actually happening is people are showing up at the border with no identification and a bunch of kids and going, oh, no, these are all my kids. And the U.S. government goes, well, we have a massive human trafficking problem down here. So if you don't mind, you're going to go over there, and we're going to figure out who you are, and the kids are going to go over there, and we're going to figure out who they are. And then these kids need a parent or an immediate relative to come and claim them.
And it's funny to me how the bleeding hearts don't take into account things like human trafficking.
Right.
That are an epidemic that it's uncontrollable, and if anyone takes the necessary measures to even attempt to thwart it, for some reason it's, well, now here come the Nazis.
Right.
It's like, wait a second.
Did you see Brooke Baldwin on CNN?
No.
Okay. So Brooke Baldwin has a Border Patrol agent on, and she's asking him, tell us about the kids. And this guy goes,
gotta be good.
This guy says, look, this has been happening for a really, really long time. And he tells her.
I bet she's like, feed's cutting out.
Right. He tells her.
Started yesterday.
We are catching parents with their children who are providing their daughters with birth control because they understand their daughter will be raped, and that is part of the price you pay to be smuggled into the United States. And Brooke Baldwin's response to him is, but are you treating the children humanely? I kid you not. That is all she could come up with to the fact that parents are bringing, listen to me, I have a young daughter, and I don't care if I have to move heaven and earth. If you tell me that the price of whatever it is the defilement of my daughter, it will not happen. I will kill you, and I will kill everyone around you to make sure it does not happen. Do not tell me that a logical person believes that that's an acceptable price to pay for anything. For anything. That is an absolutely defiled and depraved cultural mindset. If you think that's a risk worth taking, if you would put your daughter on, and I'm telling you, this is an expert who sees it every day, who went on CNN and said, we find them with birth control, and the parents explain to us that it's because we know she'll be raped. You're telling me that's not a depraved mindset. There is no listen, you want to talk Hitler, read any book about the Jews. Read any book written by an actual Jew who actually survived the Holocaust, and not one of them told you, well, we had to allow our daughters to be raped because that was the price we paid. It is the Jews suffered immeasurably, and oftentimes voluntarily, to be together. There are parents who just held the hands of their children as they walked in the gas chambers together, telling their kids, not a big deal. Everything's going to be all right. Voluntarily suffering for the sake of their children. And you're telling me that these people hold a candle to that? That the situations are in any way comparable? You're out of your mind. Out of your mind. It is unbelievable. Her response to the fact that children are being raped at our border was to question whether or not the United States Border Patrol agents are treating the children humanely. Making your point all the more valid, Patrick. They don't care about anything except excoriating the other political side.
I know this isn't the point you're trying to make.
Lay it on me.
What I'll say about that is what journalism is today.
It's advocacy, right?
It's advocacy through misdirection. Yeah. We're not going to address the person that we're actually interviewing and the right. content of what they have to say in response to a question that you ask them. Instead, we're just going to go, what about this? No. Right. We weren't done talking about this terrible thing that you brought up, you idiot.
Wouldn't that be good? Wouldn't it be so good had he finished that? And she goes, but can you assure me that the Border Patrol agents are treating these children humanely? Wouldn't it have been great if his response would have been, sorry, so you don't want to talk about the kids being raped? No, it's tragic. It's terrible. I can't even imagine. But are our people doing all they can do? What do you want us to do, Brooke? The point is they're being raped on the way to us. They're not being raped in front of us. They're not being raped by us. They're being raped on the way to us. Because, for the record, we had a president for 8 years who told their parents, you won't be prosecuted for coming here. So do whatever it takes and get here. He sent the invitation out. These people are accepting the invitation. The cost of the invitation is your daughter gets raped. Repeatedly, by the way. It's an unreal world. And just the feigned outrage, like you said. It's advocacy, misdirection, and just, these people are evil. The media is growing more and more evil every day. Willingly so, I would say. Okay, here's some good news. You ready? Because this is awesome. We'll spend the last 5 minutes.
Lay it on me.
This is from militarytimes.com. Reports have surfaced of a 29-year-old British SAS sergeant's fight against fleeing Taliban terrorists in an underground cave complex in Afghanistan. The Daily Star Sunday reported that the soldier from central England managed to shoot 3 terrorists and kill another 3 with a claw hammer while in near complete darkness in a series of underground tunnels less than 2 feet wide and 4 feet high. The soldier was part of a joint British and Afghan Special Forces operation launched against the Taliban base in Afghanistan. The commandos involved in the operation successfully destroyed the base, but several Taliban, including a high-value senior commander, were able to flee into an underground cave complex. When no Afghan commandos volunteered to enter the tunnels, the SAS soldier took it upon himself to complete the mission. The soldier managed to crawl into the narrow tunnel, but with no room for a long-barreled weapon, took only his Glock 9mm pistol. No, here come the Glock fanboys. For 30 minutes, he relied on sound.
Actually, I think it was a 6-hour P320.
Yeah, that's all the Special Forces use. For half an hour, he relied on sound, smell, and touch to track and kill 6 terrorists in the pitch-black environment. The soldier killed the first 3 Taliban he encountered, but when he went to shoot the 4th, his pistol jammed. Using a claw hammer, the soldier successfully fought and killed the remaining 3 militants. He's an Iraq veteran.
I just like that he had a hammer in his pocket.
There's a claw. Like, who? I'm going to use this claw hammer. Yes, it happens to be laying right here. All right, the soldier is an Iraq veteran.
Navy SEALs are listening.
And he's not speaking to the media right now.
Crane is going to have to requisition some hammers now. They're going to cost $4 million. All the fanboys are going to start buying SOCOM hammers.
I love it. It's
going to be great.
Wouldn't that be awesome? In fact.
Oh, Kris already has one.
Hold on. Look at that.
He's looking at his bookshelf. Oh, man.
And I can get rid of this weird multi-tool I was given.
What is that?
I don't remember where I got this.
Oh, man. Kris, you know how I know you're not a tool guy? Because you have that thing.
I didn't buy this. Somebody bought this.
I didn't say you bought it. I say you have it.
Well, my son wants it.
All right, I'm putting that on our Facebook page.
It'll be his one day.
That poor kid.
No, he's 5. So he loves it. But there are some sharp objects here, which I don't know how to work, so I haven't really given it to him to figure it out yet. I like it's got a nail file. Like, you know, it's this awesome. It's a hammer with like a bottle opener and a knife and another knife, but then a saw, and then there's a file on the saw as well, I guess. So, all right. Anyway, that's it. That's your tactical claw hammer.
Looks like a failed Leatherman design.
Whoa. Failed? That implies it wouldn't work. There you go, buddy.
Me?
Post that up on the IG. All right, then I'm going to read our vote of the week, and we'll get out of your hair. Thanks for hanging out, by the way. City Councilman Sally Bagshaw says she'd like to learn more about how to provide free drugs for users. This is from the Maven.net, better known as Blue Lives Matter. Several Seattle City Council members have announced that they plan to move forward with multi-million-dollar tax-funded proposals to purchase a massive recreational vehicle that would provide intravenous drug users with a space to shoot up. One City Council member said she would even like to look into the option of providing the drugs. The estimated startup costs associated with the project is about $2 million, not including the $2.5 million in additional taxpayer dollars that would be needed to operate it. We were looking at those city-owned and county-owned properties, but none were really viable that were appropriate, Seattle Human Services Department Rep Meg Olberding told KIRO. Instead of a brick-and-mortar location, project proponents began exploring the concept of a fixed mobile site, which would allow the RV to be moved to a set location each day and taken back to a secure facility off-site for cleaning and maintenance at night. Now remember, this is Seattle, where you have to pay people $15 an hour to work for you. And now, on top of that, your tax money is going to give drugs to addicts with zero consequence for their actions. Unbelievable. All right. Dude, you got that whole tool open.
I got it, yeah. I figured it all out.
Sally Bagshaw, you are our voter of the week. Instagram, Felt Recoil Show, you can see the coolest multi-tool you've ever seen. I think that is the actual claw hammer that British soldier used to kill the 3 Taliban. Although, to be fair, it has been in the office the entire time.
There's some snack bar on it.
Could be. There's a burqa remover right there on the back. See that? Yeah. I don't know what the professionals call that you pull nails out with on the other side of the hammer. But the way I see it, that is a proper, that right in the eye of the burqa and pull down, rip that thing right off her head. and romance begins. It's the way it is in those countries. All right, you can find us online, feltrecoilshow.com, facebook.com/feltrecoilshow. Email me, Kris, Kris, at feltrecoilshow.com. Patrick, common spelling for a common man, at feltrecoilshow.com. We'd love to hear from you. All your feedback, we'll share it here on the show next time when we come back for what will be episode 82 of the Felt Recoil Podcast.